right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, and we are back with more Why the Last Man. We're on Season 1, Episode 8. It is called Ready, Aim, Fire. Full spoilers if you've not seen this episode. And if you're liking what we're doing here on the channel, make sure you're hitting the like button. Subscribe, all that jazz. Just helps with my motivation. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. How's everybody doing out there on this Monday morning? And if you're new, yep, as always, welcome to the conversation. So, boy, oh boy, oh boy. So, I know that there's just by reading the comment section, there's some people that just really are having a hard time with this show, and I want you to know that I am too. Because as much as this show has been on my, that I've been looking forward to it, and we talk about this, I hate bringing up the same things over and over again, but as much as I've been anticipating this, there were three shows that I was more excited about than anything. Snowpiercer, Invincible, Why the Last Man. Invincible turned out to be mostly good. Mostly good. I have a few major issues with it, but it's mostly good. And the animation's fantastic. Snowpiercer has a great idea, and then it became a procedural, and with some good talent on it, but it's still a procedural, and it's par for course for the channel that it's on. It just falls into the this is what we do on this channel category. And then we have Why the Last Man, and it's on FX, so you can do a lot, and they do take the opportunity to be able to do what they can do on the channel that they're on. But that being said, I just don't feel the same, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be the comic book. I've made it clear that I try to not talk about the comparisons too much with the comic book. And I have talked about, like, when it comes to Hero's storyline and Roxanne's storyline, that I didn't know how much of the Amazon story would we get. Would we get it at all? Would this just be they take the Missy Pyle character's loss of a breast and just go, that's your one? But here we might be seeing, we're seeing the real beginnings of it, and how far they'll take it, I don't know. But this show has not been what I expected it to be, and I have to either adjust my thinking on that, or I don't know how long I'll be reviewing it. I know I'm going to complete the first season, and I know I'll at least start the second season. For me, I think the major problem is just pacing. I feel like this is probably like a 10 episode season, something along those lines, like a lot of these shows. And I've said that I appreciate the character development, and I'm hoping that, like, once we get most of these characters really, boots on the ground running, get them all figured out for the most part, once we really establish this world and what is going to be kicking off for season 2, that will have much more faster paced stories. Because right now it's just world building, and I do appreciate it, but it's slow. And in this, though, we get a huge chunk of character, story, motivations. And if you don't like some of these characters, you probably didn't change your mind after this episode. But this is like the beginning of the Amazons. Will these characters all become like the comic characters and literally cut one of their breasts off? I don't know. It sure seems to be headed that way. But the thing that was interesting about this is just there's no good, like, there's no the this is Roxanne's origin story. And it's also kind of showing, like, what Nora's willing to do what Hero is willing to do, well, not do, to stick around. And it really just left like, oh my God, like this is just not, these are just, I don't know. So here, let's just dive right in, right? So Roxanne's full of shit. She's been full of shit from the very beginning, and all she really wanted was to be in charge. We get her full backstory now. She turns out that she worked for this store that she's protecting. First thing I have to say about this is I've worked in retail, in like grocery stores and things like that my whole, like, a long time. I bartended, I waitered, I've been in customer service my entire career. The store that she's at that openly lets people behave like they're behaving in this store. It's like the worst case scenario store. She works in one of the worst places I've ever seen because as in I may be living in a bubble, right? I've only worked in Illinois and Wisconsin. But these are Illinois, Wisconsin, this is Bible Belt, right? This is also men are men and men can do whatever they want kind of land that I live in. Not as a little less these days because of everything, that's going on in the culture, which is good. But I've never seen a store tolerate the level of what was being tolerated there in only the few minutes of what we know is going on in this place. I've never seen it to that degree. I have seen people be ineffectual bosses. I've seen people not want to do confrontations, and so they let things slide. And basically, unless you're caught doing something that they can't deny, then a lot of things get tolerated. I've seen people get written up so many times they should have been fired 10 times over. But I've never seen openly guilty things be ignored. Like, really ignored. So, I mean, I feel like this is an extreme case to fit the plot. I'm not saying these places don't exist. I know they do. I guess I've just been lucky to only deal with the level of incompetence, only a certain degree of incompetence across my customer service life, but I've seen a lot of shit, guys and gals, everyone. And so, I don't know. I thought it was convenient for the plot that it's just this bad, and that her whole motivation is that she's just been ignored by men, and she's always wanted to be in charge. And how she does it? Well, how does she do it? Well, she does it. Okay, well, here's the other thing. This place not being completely looted is a little ridiculous. This world is very empty. This world feels like the only thing that's missing in it is the zombies. The men all died, so I get that people probably wouldn't be going to work. And I don't mean, the men all died, we can't work. I mean, I would expect there to be less people working. People trying to figure out how to keep things going. Like, I would have thought that would have, I don't know. Who's to say? I hope we never have to experience it. In my lifetime, anyway. Anybody's lifetime. But I feel like this place not being completely looted and that Missy Pyle is just the lord of it all, I find that a little unbelievable. But again, it has to fit the plot, which, when you keep... I don't like making excuses. But this is their story. This is the story they're trying to tell. And it's like, okay, well, either I'm in or I'm out. So I have to decide for myself, if I don't believe this, how invested can I be? And the answer is, I'm not that invested. If I have to keep saying I got to just go with it, then there's a problem. But for story's sake of what's going on and me telling you what's going on in the show, these are the facts, right? So she just wanted to be in charge. She got left behind. Apparently she has no home to go to. She just hangs out there. Probably a good idea because of the availability of supplies and things like that. Um, but then she witnesses a couple of people shooting at each other. They kill each other. She takes their guns, and so anybody that just shows up in the store, she just becomes a murderer. She just starts shooting everybody that walks through the doors. And she's all alone, and she sees the group. She finds the group of women by following a horse back to their place. And instead, right, instead of just walking up to them and saying, "Hi, I'm Roxanne. What's all this about?" She decides to create an entire fiction where she steals cop clothes. She takes some. Well, she doesn't. She realizes just take. She takes the clothes from the store, I'm sure, but she steals the identity of like a cop. She becomes a cop. She takes the cop guns. She tries to hide the cop bodies. She tries to push the car into the water, and decides that I'm going to be in charge of these women rather than just be one of them. So psychologically, no matter what she's been through, there's more to just going on up here than people didn't take me seriously. She's seeing a bunch of people that are happy, and she decides she wants to run that shit. They seemed fine. They didn't seem to need a leader. She created a situation that made them feel unsafe. They felt they looked fine. So what does that say about her in the end? You know, that it wasn't just the men that did anything to her. She had a desire for power underneath it all. And it's real, they don't really make that, they don't really slam that idea home. They just show you that she had a really shitty job with working with some shitty people. And they throw out the line, if you want to be in charge, go work somewhere else. So that's where they establish that she's just got to be in charge of something, to me. Now, Missy Pyle's an excellent actress in this. Everybody is really good at what they've been tasked to do on this show and with the writing that they have. So my problem isn't with the actors. It's more like with the character's motivation and how they've decided to write it. Because I just don't see that leap. I don't see, she doesn't seem like someone who can't just walk up to a bunch of ladies and say, "Hi, my name is Roxanne. Can I be a part of your group? Can I be here with you and be safe with you and be happy with you?" No, she decides she has to control that. She's one of those people that believes the lie that she creates. Really good liars do that. You have to believe your own bullshit to some degree. And so we see her, hey, like covering her tracks, and how she basically takes these women's fear of men and runs with it. Creates this whole persona that starts out with authority and a gun. So she's just another authority figure. She's claiming to want to help these people, but really she just wants to control the situation, control them, and feel bigger because she felt less than before. So she's victimizing the people that she's supposedly trying to help for her own, purposes. What's the end game here? How, especially with like how Nora brings up, eventually the trucks are going to stop coming and there will be no more food. Or was that Sam? I think it was Nora. So this is all an untenable thing. Like eventually they're not going to be able to stay here either way. And we realize that the whole thing about Kate, the girl who was shot, the woman that Roxanne finished off, is that she found out who Roxanne really is. She just wanted to leave. But then Roxanne kills her. Well, at least thinks she kills her and then finishes her off. and just runs on the men are all awful. Like that scene where she's trying to force Hiro to talk to invent bad memories about her brother and her father. Now Hiro hates herself to me, and this is like an interpretation. So look, this is I gotta make sure I reiterate here. This is just my opinion. This show is gonna bring up a lot of feelings for a lot of people, and since I'm a dude coming at this, I'm probably going to have a lot of people that are like, "You're fucking wrong. You're an idiot. You're a man. How can you know?" I'm coming at it from a character aspect, and I'm not really worried about the gender of the character that's saying it. So when I say something like what I'm about to say, like Hiro hates herself so much because of what she's done, and she knows that she could just apologize. I mean, I've been in the situation where that Hiro's been in. You get into that mindset that you've done something bad that you feel guilty for, and you don't confront things. Just compounds and makes it worse and makes it harder to deal with the things that got to be dealt with. Ripping off that band-aid, admitting you were wrong, or just or facing a fear is so psychologically difficult sometimes. I have gone years and years without facing some things. I just did something this week that took me almost 20 years to do. I finally reached out to some people that I haven't talked to in 20 years for fear of what that conversation would look like. And it was scary and anxiety inducing, and it was a whirlwind of emotions, but now that I did it, I feel so much better. And that's Hiro just has to get to that point. Unfortunately, she's allowing herself to be manipulated by Roxanne. And she and in the whole situation is that she loses Sam because of it, because she knows what's wrong, she knows she should do these things, she won't because she'd rather keep denying and not dealing and live in the temporary safety that she has. And I feel like she's done that her whole life. And it's for some audience members, I can understand why this is frustrating. But I think Olivia Thirlby is doing an incredible job at playing someone who has these feelings. If you've got your shit together, I think maybe sometimes you can have a hard time empathizing with people that don't. But that doesn't make it easy when you have dealt with your shit to watch it either, because it kind of can bring up bad memories of the things that it took you so long to do. So I think it's a testament to her acting that, I don't know. I understand the Hiro character, and it's still a struggle to watch. And if you're her to do a simple turnaround, well, get ready to wait a while. I don't know how long this show will go on for, but all I can say is that if they go by the comic book, eventually things start to go the other way. Now, Nora here is desperate to stay but they want her to leave because Roxanne can smell when someone is going to smell her bullshit. It's anybody that does not completely 100% kiss the ring and completely get on board with what she's doing there, you're out. Because if you're there, the more chance that you will find something to expose her. It's a very for a liar to do. Is you don't want the people who could smell your bullshit to be there. You have to remove them as quickly as possible. Nora, though, has a daughter who wants to stay, right? So you got that problem. So how do you deal with that? If they won't let us stay and my daughter will probably want to, will probably be protected by these people and make her stay and make her leave without her, which would probably cause a violent confrontation. And Nora trying to reach out to Hiro about her own mother and like, hey, we can leave. And when Hiro says no, what does Nora do instead? She burns the place down and creates her own advantage, kind of like what Roxanne did. She saw what somebody had, her be a part of it, right? Except the thing is in Roxanne's case, she didn't even try to get in with these women before she started manipulating them. Nora at least tried to. She came in empty-handed, hat in hand, to like, hey, we just need a place to stay. She at least came there and said, help. Roxanne never did that with the group. But now that Nora has burned down the place and created a situation and found Roxanne's badge, instead of using that to get rid of Roxanne, which is what she should have done, she decides to feed into the cult mentality by blackmailing her and saying, this can still go on. But you're going to let me eat first and all this other stuff, like creating a higher position for herself inside this very unstable community. This, as it is, it's not very many people, really. And so, as level-headed as I thought Nora was, she's now decided to force her way into this situation to create more safe. Because now without the building, they're going to have to leave. They're going to have to find things. So what do they become? This is where they become the Amazons. They even talk about removing the breast. I don't know. I don't know about some of these characters. Why Nora's here in the first place. Why this character exists. And then when she does this, all I can think is, why? Why didn't you use this to get rid of her? She's hovering over Roxanne in that position on the couch. And I thought, oh, she can kill her right now and remove the problem. You get rid of Roxanne and it all falls apart, and you could, if you wanted power for yourself, if you wanted to control the situation, that's how you do it. You do not keep the crazy person around who's running off of the all men suck thing. Instead, she feeds it and then just works her way into a better situation? I don't know. I do appreciate them going deeper into the origin of the Amazons for this show, and whether or not we'll get the full Amazon treatment or not, I don't know. It's certainly heading that way. I'm glad that I appreciated the way they told Roxanne's story from like the moment of Kate's death, or shooting Kate, all the way to the very beginning of her working at the store. I liked that aspect of it. And it is an interesting episode psychologically, but some of it just, to me, just don't, I don't know. Some of it just don't make sense. And so that's all I got for this. And again, just like when I talk about The Handmaid's Tale, as I'm coming at this, I try not to come at it from just a guy's perspective, right? I try to come at it from a human perspective. A character perspective, a writing perspective. So hopefully some of the things I said don't trigger too many people into thinking, why is this man mansplaining things to me or something? But that's not my intention. This show, I just feel like this show has got to be triggering a lot of shit for a lot of people. And I know that there's probably the contingency of men who watch this that'll be like, oh, men are evil, because there's that whole base of people out there that think that because women are trying to create a better world for themselves right now, the men think that their reign is over, and we got to make sure to continue that men are staying in power, and not all men men, and why are we being marginalized now, and they're crying in their beer. It's a fucking crazy world we're living in, everybody, and I'm just trying to make sense of it in my own way. And hopefully there's some of you out there appreciate at least what I'm trying to do here with this show. So if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. We'll be back with episode 9 next week. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.